Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. Got some new finds I wanted to share with you today. Last Sunday I met up with Brian from Shamrockin' Records, also a great VC channel, and we met up here in Portland, Maine, and decided to do some record digging. There are about 6 places to buy used records in Portland, which is pretty good considering we're a town of only about 62,000 people. And it was absolutely pouring rain, pelting the other day, and we got drowned. But I think I found some good stuff. I took a short video of the two of us, but I have no idea how to splice it into this, so I'm not gonna be able to show that part. So we did some digging. I found some good stuff. So let's get to it. First off, found a great record. Not something I had been looking for, but something at the right price that I just couldn't resist. Was Warren Zevon. This is the live Stand in the Fire, recorded live at the Roxy. I just cleaned it yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but everyone says it's a great album, has great stuff on it, on Asylum Records, and it has a lot of his hits, well, not hits, but things we know: Stand in the Fire, Genie Needs a Shooter, Excitable Boy, Mohammed's Radio, one of my favorite, Werewolves of London, Lawyers, Guns, and Money, Poor, Poor, Pitiful Me. So, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. So, great stuff. The great late Warren Zevon. Next one again, wasn't looking for it, but glad I found it. I had this on CD and got rid of it when I sold all my CDs. So I'm glad to have it back in the fold. It's Clarence Gatemouth Brown, and this is Standing My Ground. Great blues guitar player on Alligator Records. As basic stuff, got my mojo working, Born in Louisiana, etc. What am I doing for a living? Never Unpack Your Suitcase. So it's great stuff. 1984, Alligator Records. On this group of records, I actually broke my long-standing rule where I don't spend more than $5. A couple of these were $4, but a number of them were well above my $5 range. But rules are made to be broken, and I figure, what the hell, it's something I really want, it's worth it. So the next one I picked up, another Alligator record, is Charlie Musselwhite, and this one is Ace of Harps. Again, I haven't listened to this yet. Alligator Records. But I'm looking forward to checking this one out. 1990 Alligator Records, so that's sort of cool. Looking forward to digging into that one when I get a moment. All right, next up is one that, again, this was well over the $5 range. I think I spent $12 for that, which for me is, a lot of money. But I was so happy to find it, and it's in really good condition. This is my favorite jazz musician of all time, is Thelonious Monk. This is Mysterioso on Riverside. It's a repress, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me. I'm happy with that. It's in really good condition. And it features Monk on piano, Johnny Griffin on tenor sax, Ahmed Abdul Malik on bass, and Roy Haynes on drums. Recorded at the 5 Spot in New York City, August 1958. So it doesn't get much better than that for me, for bop and hard bop. So I did listen to this twice already. This is a fantastic record. I'm a big Monk fan, so I was really happy to add this to my collection. All right, next one up in my eclectic journey of music is, I looked at this and I know this record. How do I know this record? I looked at it. Couldn't remember who it was. And on the back, the great Doc Watson, called Elementary, accompanied by his son Merle Watson. And they do a lot of classic things: Going Down the Road Feeling Bad, Freight Train Boogie, Summertime, Worried Blues. It's great. It's just fantastic album. Vassar Clements on it with him also. Just so happy to have this beautiful record on a great label, by the way. I love this label. It's Poppy. Beautiful label. So This is from, I'm trying to see what it says here, 1972. So there you go. Next one is a guy I've seen, haven't really listened to a hell of a lot, but I know of him. So I was happy to find this record. Again, a little more expensive than I'm used to, but he's sort of obscure. A lot of people probably don't know him. His name is Utah Phillips. He used to call himself Utah Phillips. And this is called All Used Up, a Scrapbook. He was a big member of the IWW, which is the International Workers of the World. Big union guy, the Wobblies. He was an anarchist. He went around and sang songs to union members at union meetings, and just great storyteller. Very left-wing kind of guy I like. And it's a beautiful record. I mean, he does Pretty Boy Floyd by Woody Guthrie, as well as a lot of his own compositions, as well as some traditional songs. And like Hallelujah, I'm a Bum, which is a great, Go to Sleep, You Weary Hobo, and then songs he's written. So if you like that old-time country, old-time folk union songs, a la like early Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie, the Weavers, the Almanac Singers, Utah Phillips, great, passed away a couple years ago. Great singer, great voice. Glad to have it in my collection. Utah Phillips. Next two are this guy I love. Actually, this guy, I used to have a store here in Portland, Maine, and he came in one day, and we talked for a while. It was sort of cool. He actually gave me his autograph, which I have tucked away somewhere. It is George Thorogood and the Delaware Destroyers. Picked up 2 of his records recently, so that was cool. Happy to have these. This one's on Rounder. Whenever I see anything on Rounder Records, I'm a big fan of Rounder, so I always dig in there. This, I guess, is his first album, which I had never seen really before, so I was really happy to pick that up. And then this one's a classic, which I used to have way back in the day. Everyone knows this album has Gear Jammer on it, I Drink Alone, Willie and the Hand Jive, just, great bar rock and roll. And he was really nice when he came into my store. We sat in the act for a while, and then later in the day, he sent one of his guys over with a signed photograph for me, which was sort of cool. Here's a record that I used to have way back in the day, and I just picked it up. I haven't heard it for probably over 30 years, and I played it the other day. Still sounds great. One of my favorite bands, Jim Kweskin Jug Band. This is with the original Maria Muldaur. Before she became Maria Muldaur, she was Maria D'Amato, and on Vanguard Stereolab. I might have shown this, I'm trying to think, but it's a lot of fun. Great album. And then just the other day, on Craigslist, nope, cut that out. It wasn't Craigslist. I was down at the Goodwill, and I met this guy at the store. We started talking about records, and he said he had a bunch of jazz albums that his brother had left him. He was willing to get rid of them all. So I went down there. I bought about 125 records for less than $1 each, which was great. And I'm selling a lot of them at my booth at the Antique Mall I have here in Maine. But the whole point of having things at the Antique Mall and to sell them is to keep stuff for myself, generate enough cash so I can keep my hobby going without bankrupting me. So these are the cream from that 125. The first one is Dizzy Gillespie, and this is called, and the big band, this is The New Continent, composed and arranged by Lalo Schifrin. It's on Limelight Records. I didn't know Limelight Records, but since I've shown this around, people say they do a lot of repressing, and they do a beautiful job. This is the cover and the back, but wait till you see the gatefold. It's a pop-up gatefold. How cool is that? You can see that. And a little booklet over here with information about the record, the recording, etc. So a great package, beautiful. And you can always use more Dizzy Gillespie in your jazz collection. And then I also got a bunch of Oscar Peterson albums. So I'm a big Oscar Peterson fan. This is on Verve. This is actually a French recording, French pressing, I mean. The trio. So it's Oscar Peterson, Ray Brown, Ed Thigpen. Nice gatefold on the, oh, it's a black Verve label. You have to trust me on that. Also with Oscar Peterson, who I think is a great piano player. I love his stuff. Is another record. This is called The Jazz Soul of Oscar Peterson. I'd never seen this before, so I was really happy to pick this up. And this is also on Verve. I think this is a black Verve label also. Yeah, the black Verve label. Another Oscar Peterson. This is called Swingin' Brass with Oscar Peterson. Again, this on Verve. Stereo. Stereophonic. So looking forward to digging into all these Oscar Brown. This one, the next one, Oscar Brown one, I had this on, I'm Oscar Peterson. I had this on CD for years and real happy to get it on vinyl. It's A Jazz Portrait of Frank Sinatra by the Oscar Peterson Trio with Ray Brown, Eddie Thigpen again. And this has all the Sinatra hits. You Make Me Feel So Young, Come Dance With Me, Learning the Blues, Witchcraft, Tender Trap, I Get a Kick Out of You. So it's just a great, great album. Really happy to have this in my collection. And this again is on Verve. Another one of Oscar Peterson I never saw before. It's called Oscars. And Oscar Peterson plays the Oscars. So these are all songs from movies. From West Side Story, State Fair, American in Paris, My Fair Lady, does Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz. So I'm looking to dig into this too. Again, I don't know. Oh yeah, it's a trio again with Ray Brown, Eddie Thigpen. And Herb Ellis sits in on guitar in a couple of tracks. So that's pretty cool. That's also a Verve recording. So, and the next one, I actually have this record. I picked this up a couple of weeks ago. And the one I picked up a couple of weeks ago was a mono. And this was a stereo. So I figured, well, I usually don't keep doubles of albums, but sometimes it's good to have the mono and the stereo. And this is the MJQ Modern Jazz Quartet. And I'd never seen this with the little sticker on there. Stereo, and on the back is the stereo disc. So this is a great album. I listened to it last time. I really loved it. So I got to do an A-B and play the mono and then the stereo. See which one I like better, but I might end up keeping both of them just to have in my collection. I have a couple of albums where I have both the mono and stereo version. So I think I'll end up probably keeping that anyway. Next one is a guy, a piano player who's also not a big name, sort of under the radar, but I like his stuff because it's very bluesy. It's a Junior Mance. And this is his piano and trio and the Bob Bain Brass Ensemble. Straight Ahead on Columbia. Recorded in 1964. So looking forward to that also. Let me see if this is regular. That doesn't matter. There you go. Next one. A great horn player. Part of that West Coast cool jazz scene is Jerry Mulligan. This is the Jerry Mulligan Quartet with Bill Crow, Gus Johnson, and Bob Brookmeyer. Also on Verve. All these records that I got for less than $1 each, they're all in, I'm not saying mint, but they're all in VG++ to excellent condition. They're just, it's great to find old records like this that are been kept well in really good condition. This was recorded in New York, 1962, and in the village at the Village Gate, which the Village Vanguard, I mean. So another Verve recording. Jerry Mulligan. Another piano player. One of my other all-time faves is Bill Evans. This is called Interplay. Love that 50s kind of label, 60s label. With Freddie Hubbard, Jim Hall, Percy Heath, and Philly Joe Jones. How bad could it be? It's got to be a great album. On Riverside. It's always good to find stuff on Riverside. That's always a hard label to dig. Oh, so let me check, just show the label because I love it. Oh, it's a repress. That's right. It's a Riverside repress, but still, records are so clean. I love it. Next one is a record we've seen all over the place. At least I see it, every Goodwill, every thrift store has a copy of this next record.